Hello and welcome back to the Yoga Life channel. Today I want to have a chat to you about emotional mastery. If you want to live your best life, one of the most important elements is consistency. To be fairly unfazed by the highs and the lows and the emotional rattles that can go on, and be able to drive your bus and manage your own emotional state regardless of what's going on the outside. So whether it is that you are working somewhere and there's all sorts of politics going on in a corporate or in a business that you are a part of, whether there is in a relationship some troubles, ups and downs, someone being aggressive or like doing stuff that's frustrating, what you want to be able to do is assert yourself and have peace and serenity on the inside, so that nothing that happens on the outside can really shake you, and you can keep kind of running in your own lane. You can keep driving your own bus, going towards where you want to be, unfazed by what's going on. If you're not able to do that, what happens is that you're like a little boat bobbing on the ocean, and every tempest, every weather change is going to throw you off course into one direction or the other, and that leads to a lot of emotional distress and drama. And with all this drama going on in life, we then can get easily distracted from what really matters and what's really important. Yogic scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita actually really emphasize how important it is to be self-reliant and to be not fazed by the ups and downs. The aim in those yogic scriptures and in all yogic practices, from the asanas you practice, like the different postures in yoga classes, to yoga philosophy, to practices like bhakti yoga, like I do in my practice, where we are serving from a place of love and devotion. All those practices ultimately are supposed to lead to an inner level-headedness and inner peace regardless of what's going on. So the interesting thing is, usually in the normal world out there, we think we really want to ride the highs and enjoy and have like the best of the best of the best, and then try to avoid the lows and feel really bad ourselves. So we are throwing up and down emotionally, versus the yogic scriptures propose that neither in the highs nor in the lows we should get carried away, but should remain equipoised and should have tolerance in the face of adversity and inner peace when negativity hits, so that we can always have serenity and be level-headed no matter what. The aim of this video particularly is to learn to respond appropriately, to not react to what's going on from the outside, and every time somebody throws us a curveball, get flustered and stressed about it, but to learn to respond and act from the inside out, so that we are defining the situation rather than being defined by the situation. And ultimately, the aim is to be able to create results that are good for us, good for others, and good for the greater good. So that it's not just about us and how we feel, but also seeing the big picture of what really needs to happen in order to create an outcome that is good and sustainable in the long run for everybody involved. I'll give you an example, and this is from my own life. Imagine my son comes home, he's 16, he's at school, and he's had a bad day. What will sometimes happen is that he comes home, not a word, just throws his stuff in a corner, quickly gets himself something to eat, leaves all the stuff out, and then disappears into his room, and I don't see and hear anything from him. Now, what sometimes, when I'm not having a good day and not really managing myself very well, can be my response, will be that I get really upset and angry when I see the mess around, and I storm into his room and give him a piece of my mind, basically asserting my power over as a parent, and then forcing him to clean up after himself immediately, but from a place of anger. When I'm in a better place and when I'm actually mastering my own emotions, and this is increasingly so most of the time, I'm not going to pretend it's always the case, but when I am, what I'll do is I'll probably notice that this behavior is out of line. So the mess is there, the kid has disappeared, but I notice there is an out of line behavior happening. So rather than making it about me and how I feel in the moment when he's not doing what I want him to do, I might notice that there's something potentially going on for him. So I will knock on his door, ask permission if it's okay to come in, sit down with him and ask him, hey, what's going on for you? Are you okay? It's really important. A friend of mine made a really beautiful remark to me a couple of years ago when we were discussing parenting teenagers, and he, having parented 4 children who are all grown up by now, said to me that the most important thing during teenage, from his perspective, was to maintain a really strong bond and a good relationship, so that when they are out of line doing things that they shouldn't be doing, especially like experimenting with drinking, with drugs, starting to drive, all those kind of difficult and potentially dangerous scenarios, which, if we are honest with ourselves, most likely are going to happen with our kids, that if they are starting to experiment with those kind of things, that they know that they can call us at any point in time, that they know that they're not going to be judged, not going to be yelled at, but that we are a safe person for them to come through. So what I learned from this friend of mine was that I have a different idea of the outcome that I want to create with my son. It's not so much just making him compliant and making sure he always does the right thing in terms of cleaning up after himself and being polite, coming, saying hello. But my higher outcome, more important than anything, is maintain this really good relationship and be the safe person for him to talk to. So I will adjust my behavior and my emotional state in order to serve that purpose. And this is what this video is about. How can I master my own emotions, even when something happens that I don't like, so that I can be the strongest element there in the equation, and I can apply my own behavioral flexibility, not in order to how I feel today, but in order to the outcome that I want to be creating. So the real key here is to take a mature stance. A child will be thrown by whatever is going on the outside. A mature adult will see what is required in order to get the outcome that we want and will act accordingly. I'll give you another example that I've seen in a business context. I am involved sometimes with businesses and helping them out, both with practical tasks, but also with business advice and leadership advice. And on several occasions, I have had business people who, say, had managers or had staff members who had done the wrong thing and had frustrated them. And the manager was, or the boss was writing them a really angry email stating everything they have done wrong and what they are demanding and expecting from them, but caught themselves and sent me the email to just have a quick glance at it and give them some feedback. And every single time my answer is the same. If I look at this, you are being the angry person and you are asserting yourself and you are exerting power over. Before you send the email, before you even write the email, what is the outcome you want to create? Do you want to be the authoritarian figure that is telling someone what they should or shouldn't be doing? Or do you want to be an inspiring leader who has clarity about where you want the business and that person within the business to go in the long run, and can adjust your communication to serve the purpose and your outcome rather than just be an expression of your emotional state at this point in time where you're angry? So outcome in mind first, and then adjust your behavior, adjust your emotional state to what it is that you want to create. It's a very, very different way of approaching conflict. The key, as I said, is behavioral flexibility. You can choose how you want to act and be proactive rather than being reactive to whatever somebody else has been doing. So you can choose how you want to show up rather than just have a trigger response kind of knee-jerk reaction to stuff. I'll give you 3 examples on how people act. There's a childish, an adolescent, and a mature stance you can take. And it's up to you and completely your choice how you want to show up in a conflicting situation. A childish reaction would be to take things personally and then basically throw a tantrum. It's all about being self-involved, seeing what I want, what's right for me, and how I've been done wrong by, and then also giving blame. You know, when you have little kids who are angry at each other, what do? They go tell on each other. They go like, oh, he's been doing this, she's been doing that, and they get angry, and it's all about them and how they feel, and they just lash out. Obviously, you can show up like this. Question is, does it give you the results that you want? An adolescent will show up slightly different. An adolescent will probably either push back and get angry or take the other stance and just disappear and go like, whatever, I don't care. Both of that is also not really helping with creating a positive outcome. An adolescent will look for freedom and demand freedom and being left alone, and will also deny responsibility. So that shouldn't be my issue. I don't want anything to do with this. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And again, if this is serving you, do it. Play along with it. But if you feel that being stuck in an adolescent sort of behavior isn't quite getting you the results that you want, maybe reconsider. A mature adult, a person who has left these stages behind and matured into all that they can be, will keep the outcome in mind, will see what's the greater good for all involved, and will show up flexibly depending on what it is that they want to achieve, and will look to serve the others and the situation rather than making it all about themselves. This is what a good parent does, and this is what a good leader will do. And the distinction here when it comes to leadership is really, do you want to be authoritarian, so power over, tell everyone else and push your agenda no matter what? Or do you truly want to be an authority, somebody that other people look up to and that other people follow, not because they have to and because they're being made to, but because they are inspired by the stance, by the personality, by the way that you are communicating, and by seeing that wherever you show up, good results happen and good things are being moved along. They want to become like you in the long run, so they will follow you no matter what. It's up to you, it's your choice. You can choose to master your emotions. You can choose to focus on bigger picture and outcomes rather than your immediate emotions. And I would love to hear where you have or haven't succeeded in doing so, how you have or haven't noticed your own emotions getting the better of you, and how you have overcome issues like this. So if you feel up for it, leave us a comment in the comment section below. And as always, if you like our content, we'd be super happy to see that you subscribe. And if you like to hear about new upcoming videos, you can hit the bell button and get notifications. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.